Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Team Next Generation Team Call. It is Wednesday, the 16th of November, and I am excited to share with you guys tonight. Deanna and I are going to kind of tag team this call, so we're going to do something a little bit different than we normally do. And it is a call, like I said before, that I'm excited to share with you guys, and I'm excited to hear you guys' feedback on the call. As I said in the team page, you know, this is a family. It's a collaborative experience. You know, we are the ones that I'm always the one that talks on this call, but at the end of the day, like, there is a ton of stuff that we can learn. Everybody can learn from each other. And so I look forward to kind of getting your guys' feedback and seeing, you know, your honest opinions. And I think there's a lot of value in this. And, you know, we obviously want you guys to hear that first because, well, you're the family, so you're the first one that gets privy to all the cool stuff that we can share. So tonight is going to be all about mindset, how we approach this business, and how to be successful in it. And the premise I want to kind of put into this, the kind of idea I want to put in your head is I want to use the idea of a marathon. Do we have marathon? Has anybody in here ran a marathon? Anybody? Like, I have not ran a marathon. But I wanted to put it in the premise because I think we all can kind of understand. It's something that we all can relate to, the idea of marathon running. And so the thing is, the first thing I wanted to start with is the idea that there are actually three sources of energy, three sources of fuel, three sources of propellant that actually propel you through something like a marathon. And I think what you're going to find tonight is that those three sources also make a direct comparison to what we do in our business and what fuels us to be successful and finish, if you will, hit the finish line of our business, right? So the number one fuel source that we utilize in a marathon and in our business, I want you guys, first of all, to think about this. I want you to put yourself in the perspective of the runner in this scenario, okay? You are the runner, you are about to step into a marathon, and that is what you did when you signed up to become a coach. You kind of stepped into the shoes of a marathon runner, and you are now kind of beginning that journey, okay? So the first fuel that you are going to be burning through in this scenario is the fuel of enthusiasm, okay? How many of us, I'm not even asking for a raise of hands because I know all of us, everyone's going to raise their hand. When you think of enthusiasm, when you think of when you very first started signing up, there's a ton of excitement and enthusiasm about what you're about to start doing. Everybody is jacked about being a coach. Everybody is jacked about the idea of the potential of what they're going to do someday with coaching, how many lives they're going to change, how they're going to change their own life. Everybody is excited and amped up, and they're filled with enthusiasm about the opportunity that's sitting in front of them. And while they're high on this enthusiasm level, unfortunately, many times they're still low in the two other major fuels, one being commitment that we'll talk about in a second, and the next one being conviction that we'll also be talking about a little bit later on. Enthusiasm disappears, and this is kind of the issue with it. Enthusiasm disappears when we talk about setbacks. So anything that sets us back, here's the issue with enthusiasm. This is why you can't run a race on enthusiasm, because the second something starts standing in your way, the second your foot starts to hurt, the second you get tired, the second you know, whatever it is, the second that something starts to happen, you're out of enthusiasm. The enthusiasm is out the back door. You're done with it, and now you need to transition into something else. You need another fuel to help push you past that. But the first thing to go when any sort of setback happens is the enthusiasm. So if that's all you have, if enthusiasm is all you have, then the issue is you don't have what it takes to push past anytime something kind of happens, which we all know that in any marathon, in any business, in any entrepreneurial situation, things are always going to happen. The thing about running or dealing with enthusiasm specifically and using that as a number one fuel source or as a sole fuel source is that really basically what it's dealing with is you're basing everything in emotion and feeling. So when you feel like doing what you want to do, when you don't have a setback come to you, then all of a sudden you're fine to do it. But the second something happens and you no longer feel like you want to work today, or I feel like, man, I would rather be drinking than doing anything. Or I'm just kind of tired and I'm not feeling it. If you admit you lack that feeling, you immediately also lack the enthusiasm that you had when you started. So you don't have that propellant again that you need. That one's gone, and now all of a sudden now you're just kind of running on empty, if you will. So that is the major concern with enthusiasm specifically. I believe it is an absolute necessity in the overall process. We all need to have enthusiasm when we begin, right? But the thing is, the value we want to give you guys tonight is to help you understand what you need to push past that. Because there are many of us on this call, and there are many people in general that are right now playing off of enthusiasm. And unfortunately, that enthusiasm is doing this. And eventually they're going to need those other two fuels. And I'm going to pass it over to Deanna so she can talk more about the second fuel source. But they're going to need the other fuels to push past when that becomes, when enthusiasm runs out. But I'll let you tell us what number 2 is, Deanna.
Okay, so the second fuel source is commitment. So if you want to finish the race, you need commitment, right? You need to be committed to that race. Like when things get tough, you don't just take off your running shoes and say, I'm going home, right? You need to commit to finishing that race and everything that comes along with it. So what commitment really means is doing whatever it takes for as long as it takes. So it's not instant gratification. It's going through the motions and knowing that it will happen, but knowing that, you need to do it for as long as it takes, right? So you'll find that most people, and I was like this for a long time, most people are committed until, right? I'm committed until it gets tough. I'm committed until I have other obligations. I'm committed until, I don't get the results that I'm looking for. I'm committed until something else gets in my way, right? So commitment is being committed no matter what, right? One thing that is really important to commitment is taking daily action. So you need to be committed to your success by taking the daily action. And we all know what those are. Those are the daily vital behaviors. So that's growing your network by sending friend requests. That's reaching out to people and building relationships. And that's inviting. And those are the daily vitals that need to be done day in and day out, in addition to personal development, right? So it can't be just a sometime, because then, I've heard this saying, like, are you a part-time coach or are you a sometime coach? And a lot of us, I will admit in the beginning, I was a sometime coach. I was like, okay, I want to coach, but not today because I'm too tired. Or I want to coach, gosh, but not today because I haven't made dinner yet. Or I want to coach, but man, I'm just not feeling it, So we need to be committed. Commitment truly is when you bring your force of the will and your mind into the decision process. So it's really making that decision and deciding, I'm all in. Like I know we're talking about marathon analogies, but I'm going to talk about parenting analogies, right? You kind of have to be committed to being a parent. You can't just go all in until you decide that it's too hard, right? Because you have these little munchkins that are relying on you. And similarly, we have challengers that are relying on us, right? Sometimes we're their only source of inspiration. We're the only ones that believe in them. And as hard as it is, we have a pretty flippin' awesome job to be able to be that light in somebody's life, right? So what you need to really focus on is finding that sense of purpose and focus. So when you have your sense of purpose and focus, you have that commitment, right? You have that commitment that you need. And when you know why you're doing what you're doing, you eliminate the emotions and feelings that come along with the enthusiasm, right? So enthusiasm is like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Yeah, this is so awesome. I'm so excited. You're running on emotion and excitement and, all the things that come with it. But when you're committed, you're not focusing on feelings and emotions, because honestly, like if we all as adults just acted on our feelings and emotions, we'd be like little kids, right? We'd be like, I don't want to do that today. I just don't feel like it, you know? And so really having that, making that decision and that commitment to do that, and not just when we don't feel like it, because there's going to be times we don't feel like it, right? But we need to show up if we have plans to really help people change their lives as well as change our families' lives, right? So we need to have a long-term view. We need to know that it's going to be a long race and be okay with that. Not the short, you know, sprint, right? So a marathon takes a long time. It's not a sprint, which is going to be over like that. Same with our business. It's going to take time. So if you're not at a level that you want to be in a month or two, that's not business, right? It's a marathon. It's going to take time. So a lot of times you'll hear in what we do, be here next year. And that's why I tell a lot of you guys when I talk with you one-on-one, I'm like, be okay with the conversation not ending in Beachbody. Be okay with those relationships being built over a year or more. And know that at one time they will join your challenge group, but be okay with it being a year from now. That's kind of the cool stuff, right? So really think of it as long term. And this saying I really like, it's like have mind over mattress, right? Have that mindset that gets you out of bed, that gets you jumping out. That's your reason why, your driving force. You have to have that. You have to have that driving force. So I've been talking to you. So a lot of you guys are in like little push groups, and I've really been working with my ladies and finding out what their why is. What are their dreams? And their dreams are not my dreams, and I can't dream for them. I don't have a goal for any of your businesses. Of course, I want you all to be rock stars, but if your goal is to make $1,000 a month, awesome. If your goal is to bring your husband home, awesome. If your goal is to build your dream home, amazing. But it's your goal. It's your why, and having that really strong why and being that driving force is what's going to pull you off that mattress in the morning when you want to sleep in. So like I said, working on enthusiasm and feeling only is kind of like that kid mentality. So we need to really stop, and we need to be honest with ourselves, right? Like if we're just wanting to coach just for the community, that's amazing. That's amazing. But I think it's really important to be honest with yourself if you're wanting to do it truly for the community, or if you're scared to actually say, I want more, because you somehow feel like you don't deserve it, or you somehow feel like it's icky to help people and earn income, because it's absolutely not. Because truly, the more income you make means you're just helping that many more people, which is awesome. And like I've shared with some of my ladies that because of making income doing something I'm passionate about and helping people, I am in turn able to quadruple the amount I'm able to give to my church. You know, I have the ability to help people monetarily in other ways that I wouldn't be able to have the means to do that if I didn't have this amazing ability, you know? So, and another reason that commitment's so important, because your commitment is gonna be tested. It's gonna be tested. You're gonna see somebody that started at the same time as you, and they're gonna reach a goal quicker than you do. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna have people tell you no. You're gonna deal with self-doubt. That's when commitment is gonna be key, and it's gonna be tested. So knowing that, you know, hey, you know what, there's gonna be hard times, and anticipating it, but making that decision to move on anyway is amazing. So that is kind of my number 2 fuel source of commitment, and Justin will now talk about the third.
Okay, guys, so I'm gonna forewarn you right now. This particular one, this particular fuel source, I'm pretty passionate about it. So there may be a couple cuss words. I'm going to keep it to a minimum, but I'm just going to let you guys know ahead of time that this is something I'm pretty serious about. And it's perfect, because the number 3 fuel source, and I think this is a major one for success, guys, honestly, it's conviction. Okay. If you don't understand what conviction is the absolute belief, without question of a doubt, that your business will work for you if you work for your business, okay? Conviction is not a question or a concern, or it is nothing other than the absolute belief that you can get through all the shit that's gonna happen. It will happen, especially if you have big goals, that you can get through it, you can persevere through it, because you believe without a question. And if you doubt in your mind, it will work. Maybe, not kind of. It's the one key factor that every single successful coach, and you guys have heard me say this before, you will hear me say it 1,000 more times. Every single successful coach I've ever spoken to had that one thing in common, and it was conviction. They all never thought, I hope this works. They thought this is going to work. Some of them thought, I don't have a choice but for this to work. But it is absolutely a common belief between all of them. It is conviction, and they are all convicted that this is their purpose and this is what they're here to do. To really kind of illustrate my point here, I want to tell you guys a story. I don't know if you guys know what an ultra marathon is or not, but since we're speaking about marathons, I want to tell you guys about a man named David Goggins. David Goggins was a Navy SEAL. He was fighting in Iraq. He was actually in a pretty severe kind of mission went bad scenario, and he lost a lot of his teammates. He came home, he retired, and he decided, well, I want to earn money, and I want to earn money so I can give back to the wives who have lost their husbands in battle. So David, being a 210-pound man who had never ran more than 20 minutes, decided, I need to raise money, and how am I going to do that? So he literally Googled hardest things in the world to do. And one of the top things that came up was this race. And he decided, okay, it's a 135-mile race. I want to do that. So he contacted, it's called the Badwater Ultra Marathon. I don't know if you look it up, but he called the coordinator of that. He said, I want to be in your race. How do I do it? And the guy said, well, how many ultra marathons have you run? He said, I haven't ran any. Okay. How many marathons have you ran? None. He's like, okay, you need to go get some experience before you run this race. This is like one of the deadliest and hardest period anywhere. So he just said, okay. Within about 2 days from that, he found a 24-hour race in San Diego. He showed up to this race. This race is an extremely underfunded race. You bring all of your own support. Nobody shows up to this with a team of people. There's no other support created by the race coordinators at all. You show up, you've got your support, you've got everything. This man showed up with literally a bag of crackers, water, and a chair, a folding chair. He ran that damn race. At mile 70, he had broken all the bones, the small bones in both of his feet, and he was going into kidney failure. His kidneys were literally failing. He finished the other 30 miles and did 100 miles in 19 hours. And then within the next 2 months from that point, he also finished, he completed the Vegas Marathon, and he also went on to run another 100-mile endurance race, which was actually one of the hardest races that's ever been put together. It's not just a marathon, it's an endurance race, and it was legitimate, and he did both those things. The point of that story is to explain, if you don't understand what conviction is when you get 70 miles into a race and your feet are broken. Like literally your feet are broken and your kidneys are failing, and your mind says, it's a mindset, I'm gonna do it. Like there's no question in my mind whatsoever, I'm finishing this race. And that is what he did. That's what conviction does. But the problem, guys, is conviction is not something that we just have innately. Most of us don't have just conviction like that for things. The reason that he, I believe, has that kind of conviction in his belief about what he can achieve is because he spent time with the Navy SEALs. He was trained in that format. And so those people, they understand that's a mindset. And so he can get behind that. But had he not put himself around that type of person, those people as a whole, if they weren't his tight-knit group, I don't believe that he would have that same conviction. And so when you're asking yourself, well, how do you even get that conviction about something? That's how you get it. You spend time with people that are better than you. You guys right now showing up on a team call, this is one of the ways that you get conviction for coaching. You put yourself around people that are doing it, that are lifting you up, that want to be successful and that are successful in it, right? as soon as you start putting yourself, spending time, start putting yourself around people that are less than where you're at, that are not where you want to be, that are trying to drag you down, you've got nowhere to go but down, right? Conviction is what rubs off on you from people that are successful, that also already share the conviction. That's how you better yourself. You put yourself around convicted people and you will find yourself convicted, right? The thing of the matter is, the beautiful thing about conviction is that it's contagious. It's fully contagious. If you have it, other people are going to catch it. Same goes for you are going to catch it from other people. And the thing about conviction is it allows you to achieve those seemingly unachievable goals. It allows you to achieve the things, the big dreams, the dreams that are bigger than what you thought you could have, the dreams that are bigger than what you're thinking you can have right now. It's the, hey, I've never ran anything before, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just throw myself into a 24-hour run and see if I can do 100 miles, right? It's those kinds of dreams, the things that you're like, there's no, who does, you can't do a 100-mile run if you don't run, you know? Well, you can't run if you've got all the freaking bones broken in your feet. If your kidneys are, you can't do that. But the conviction says, bullshit, I can, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway, right? That's where it comes from. So it's not to say don't set huge goals. Set huge goals, be convicted, put yourself around convicted people, but also understand that when you set a huge goal, see, the beautiful thing about goals, the great thing about goals is a goal is a two-sided coin, okay? On this side, you have a huge goal, just this massive goal, the biggest goal you can imagine. On the other side, you have an exact, equal, and proportionate amount of destruction and of turmoil and of failure and of everything that you can think of that would deter you from making that goal. They're flip-sided. The bigger your goal, the more of that stuff you're going to have to face. And the only way you can face that stuff and come out on the other side is if you're convicted to not care enough and understand that it's 100% mindset and you're just trying to go for the goal and that's all you focus on. And that's why conviction, that's why that's the number 3 fuel. That's what gets you to that finish line. That's what ends you on a finish, on a marathon, on an ultra marathon, on a triathlon, in coaching, in your day-to-day life, raising kids, dealing with your husband. And I say husbands because wives are perfect, we know, right? So it's dealing with us, right? It's getting you through those goals. It's all of those things. If you don't have all of those fuels, then you're lacking one of the major components in being successful, right? And understanding that conviction is not something that you just naturally have. You guys are getting convicted tonight. You guys, that sounded bad, but you guys are finding conviction tonight, and you're finding conviction through people and through these groups and through putting yourself around like-minded people. That's one of the reasons we say Super Saturdays and summits and all that stuff are so important. Masterminding groups are so important. Being around like-minded people that all have the same goals, they're the ones that want to see you succeed, and they have the same desires for success in themselves. You put yourself around those people, you're going to find yourself in their place. But you choose to put yourself around unconvicted people, and you'll find yourself with a lack of conviction. And you need conviction to finish this entire thing. Yeah, and that's, I don't know how to finish it. Yay, that's all. That was the point of the call. We were trying to keep that in a certain amount of time, and I think we went over by like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, right? Babe, you're muted.
I know.
Oh, why'd you mute yourself?
I don't know, because I don't know. Yeah, I was texting Tatum, so I was probably going a lot.
But the reason, guys, and I know there's not like a lot of note taking in that, right? But the reason we're sharing with you guys that particular call is, one, feedback is always good, but the reason we think it's so valuable is that so often, and we see this so much, coaching, like Dion and I know, and anybody that's spoken to Jessica, right? Like we all have spoken to Jessica. We all have seen what she has done, right? We all have seen successful coaches. We are all very aware of what this has to offer us, what coaching can be. We fully get it. And so it's really, really, really sad. And it's unfortunate when you see people start something and then they just lack, if they just lack, you know, two of those fuels or just the conviction by itself, they get so far and it's like, man, if you just had this, that's all you would need, you know? And yeah, babe, you can just say it. You can talk, you don't have to type it because then I have to read it.
What else?
Yeah. But, you know, and then all of a sudden they quit and it's like, all you needed was a little bit of conviction, you know, to kind of make it through. So I wanted to try to give you an analogy that would maybe make sense. Maybe put it in a different form so you guys can go, oh, okay, I get it. And understand that so many times we're pushing for these goals, especially when it comes to coaching. You're pushing for these close-term goals, right? That you think everything has to happen tomorrow, right? Like, I've got to be able to retire from my job tomorrow. I've got to hit Success Club tomorrow. I've got to do all these things tomorrow. And you're not looking at the long term. Like, this is not a damn sprint, right? I think, to be honest, I think coaching really falls into more of a line of an ultra marathon than a marathon. It's not a 27-mile race. It's a fucking 100-mile race. Like, it is fully long-term. It is not going to be easy along the way. However, that payoff is massive. And it's sad to see people start and get through an entire marathon, get so far, and then be like, now I'm giving up because I just lacked that one little piece. So we're hoping that you guys kind of find that one little piece, or at least can understand where it comes from and why it's so important. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Can I get like a thumbs up, thumbs down? Can I get something? Does anybody have like questions or feedback or anything? Because we're going to transition this call into other team calls where people have asked us to speak. And I'm sure we'll have it a little bit more polished. I mean, it's not polished at all right now. So kind of give us a little bit of leeway. But does anybody have anything that you would love to see added to that, or anything that you think should be removed, or how are you guys feeling about that? What are you guys' thoughts? Don't be scared.
They don't have thoughts. We did perfect.
Yeah. I think you guys did great. I mean, the fact that it was only a half an hour was pretty amazing by itself.
Yeah.
Because usually you can't stop talking, you idiot. So
I actually give him a challenge. I'm like, let's see if we can make this under 20 minutes, baby.
Like, oh, okay.
So Justin, one of the things that I thought you should have done, but you know, I'm kind of a straight up guy, was you were talking about surrounding yourself with people that are better than you. But then when you went to talk about it, we all know that you guys are better at doing this than we are, and so we kind of look up to you. It's all right to say that, like, because you look up to people that are doing this better than you guys and can acknowledge that they're better than you, right?
Yeah.
You know, further, and maybe better is not the exact word, but since you tie it in like that, it's all. I thought it would be all right if you were like, yeah, we're better at doing this than you guys are, so that's why we're reaching out and trying to show you how to do it. Instead of you kind of tiptoed around it, and I was like, just be straight.
No, I mean, I can appreciate that. I'm more straight. The thing is though.
I know, that's why I said that, because that's how I know you to be pretty straight up. And then that particular instance, you tiptoed around it. And it's not a big deal. Maybe that's how the majority of people do. And I was like, man, just say it, Justin, just say it.
No,
I'm kind of confused on what he's referring to. Can you repeat that for me real quick? I'm sorry, just to catch up.
Are you talking to me or Jason?
Jason.
Oh, Justin at one point was talking about how we should, if we're going to get better, we need to surround ourselves with people that are better,
like-minded people,
than we are. And then when he was kind of going back around explaining that, he didn't just call it like that. But I just kind of wanted to give him the confidence that, look, we know you're straight up. We know that if you were to say we're better at this than you, nobody would take it personally. And that's what it was just kind of awkward for me to see you tiptoe around it, I guess, because I know you to be so straight up. And maybe that's what it takes, but with me, I was like, just say it.
Right. No, so it's interesting. Actually, I appreciate that. So first of all, thank you. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and so what I hear you asking is feedback in regards to the three energies for another team call. Is that correct?
Well, just the call in general, just kind of how it went and anything that you
Yeah,
think.
well, I like it. I think all three of them were fabulous, but I will say this. Yeah, dude, you got to be on point. You know what I mean? That enthusiasm or whatever. I'm not saying that you're not that person right now, but realistically speaking, I mean, I'm not interested in snoring logs, right? So not everybody receives the same information the same way, and I get that. And I love the balance between you and your wife. That's awesome. But the way big dogs run with big dogs, and I say that all the time in my industry, is if I'm doing something that's just fabulous, you're gonna know it. You're gonna see the excitement, you're gonna hear the energy, you're gonna read it in my face, my expression, that kind of thing. My personal opinion, you guys are right on. Just say it with the conviction you're pitching to us. Make sense?
I feel you. I absolutely feel you. Which is funny because usually I'm the one that's really, really, really animated. But I think it was a little bit because it's our first run, just dry run, you know. No, I definitely appreciate it.
All that, awesome, love it.
Jason, actually, the odd thing is, while I actually agree with you, the funny thing is, part of the reason that I didn't specifically say, look, that I wouldn't say we're better than you, because I honestly don't believe that in this particular business we have been doing it longer and we know some extra things. I don't even want to say more because there's many aspects of this we don't know more. One of the things about coaching that I love about it is that anybody can do it, and there will be people that come straight out of the gate, never coached in their life, and crush it in a year. But I'm like, holy crap, I don't know. So in a lot of ways, I don't know that we're not really better. We've just been doing it longer, so we does it differently. So I wouldn't say that about us because I don't consider myself. Honestly, I don't consider myself to be better than anybody. There's something I can learn from every single person on this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I personally know you don't take it that way. You and Deanna definitely don't come off as we're better than you people. And I didn't want it. When you were talking, I said to Lizzie, I was like, he's not going to say it, but we all know he doesn't mean that he's better than us as people. He's just, you guys are better at this than we are. I mean, we're on your team call learning from you, and it's all right to call it out that way.
Yeah. And I think too, like, it's more general and broad than that too. Like, you know, kind of surrounding yourself with people that you kind of want to emulate, right? That are already having the level of success that you are. Or even like, I love to surround myself with people that are positive, because I'm like, I want, like Jessica Vandenberg, I want to be around her all the time because I want to be like her when I grow up, even though I'm older than she is, because she just exudes positivity and kindness. And I just want to be around her because it just makes me a better person. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
But you would also, if you guys were on a team call with her, you would consider her better at it than you, because the success is there, the skills is there. That's all I was saying. I'm not trying to argue the point.
No, not at all.
I do that as well, too. I just wanted you to know when you're with us, your team, you have the confidence with that, man. You could call a spade if you feel like you need to.
No, so I'm glad you said that, because I think what I'm going to do is actually change the verbiage on that, you know, to people that, like what Deanna was saying, because it's not totally about just people that are like above you in rank, right? Because that's not necessarily really what the point I'm trying to get across there. The point I'm trying to get across is really like-minded individuals, just people that share the same desires. You guys could be next to each other. They could be, you know, behind you in the business, you know, like whatever it is. But if you guys have the same desires, you guys have, you know, that like-minded aspect, you both want things, you both feel convicted regardless of your, those are the people that you want to put yourself around. Like, that is the team that you want to engulf yourself inside of, right? Like, that's what you want to really be around as much as possible, because that's where you're going to get the fuel. That's where the conviction gets, you know. And so it really isn't about, so I'm glad you brought that up, because it really isn't about saying people that are better than you. It's about saying people that are like-minded, that think the same way, that have that conviction that you can pull from, right? Because that's what we need.
You know, I was listening. I've been listening to that How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age by Dale Carnegie. And for the life of me, I can't think of exactly what he has, a little quote for exactly what you just said. And I can't quote it out, but I just heard it. But basically, you know, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson weren't really good friends until, you know, they played against each other for a while. But both of them would agree that neither one of them would have been what they were had they not had that competition and been around each other as much as they were.
Absolutely.
And so that's the same principle you're talking about, essentially.
It's the law of five, right? You're a people. I'm spacing the word right now too. But you're a
average of the 5 people
thank you.
surround yourself
Oh gosh,
with.
you cannot come up with average. But yes, you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time around.
Okay.
Absolutely. Anybody
Sorry,
else?
I didn't mean to get so off topic with that.
Not at all. That was on topic. That's exactly what I'm looking for, is feedback on what we're doing so I can make the appropriate changes so that I can, so I appreciate that. Anybody else have anything that they want to share just in general too? Like, doesn't have to be.
I would love to hear if a couple people would be so kind and brave as to kind of share maybe 1 or 2 takeaways from tonight's call that maybe kind of hit home, that they're like, maybe it was kind of a tough love moment, like, oh yeah, I do that, or oh, I never thought about something that way.
I will, but I've been doing a lot of talking, so.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, the enthusiasm's kind of waned on my side. It's been nice to see my wife kind of pick it up, but the excitement of it kind of comes and goes. Like, I'm excited now after having spoken with you guys over this, and you know, I feel like recommitting, but that's all. Those last 2 really I've been struggling with lately, and I find every excuse under the sun to kind of justify it. But I don't know, maybe I need to reach out to you guys a little bit more, but for the, you know, getting more motivation to do it. So
Absolutely. I appreciate your honesty. And
Yeah.
like, we've got the 2 kind of push groups going on right now. And, you know, I actually talked to the ladies in the group today saying, you know, I was the exact same way. Like, when Justin and I first started coaching, we never reached out for help. And so it's like, if I could share, like, if that's the one thing you do before you're struggling, or when you're struggling, reach out and ask for help versus, you know, like me reaching out and saying, hey, how's everything going?
Yeah.
And then I'm totally struggling. Well, reach out. That's what I'm here for, you know? So I definitely think that that's a great idea. Like, you know what, I'm kind of losing my mojo, or I'm kind of struggling with this or whatever, because that's what we're all here to do together.
yeah.
I was going to say real quick, too, one of the things I absolutely love, not all the time do I get to do it at that time, but I have my timer set up for the Monday wake-up call from Beachbody.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous. If you've not gone and listened to them, I mean, you know, these are the elite from the elite from the elite, and it's just, it's a great inspiration. It's that Monday money motivator, if you will say, to make your week make sense. I love it. And you have to remember, your back office has a ton of stuff. I made a commitment, and Megan being my upline coach, I made a commitment to Megan, just basically saying that, hey, I'm going to learn my back office, because there are tools on that thing that are just surreal. So I absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. If you guys aren't on that wake-up call, be sure to do that. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. You know what I'm saying? Just to listen. Just to listen to, and they both went, whoop. Just to listen to some great motivation from the pros, right?
And great tips. Like we had Missy Reber on 2 weeks ago, and she's been on the National Wake Up Call. And I think I don't know if it is, but anyways, it's great. Like, you can listen to it live. You can listen to the callback on the recording. They actually have a podcast. So if you download Team Beachbody's podcast, you can listen. I listen to them every Monday on my way home, because if you skip like the first 10 minutes of it where they recognize everybody and then they jump into the call, that's what I do, because all the names kind of, but yeah, no, it's a great resource, because yeah, it can motivate you, re-energize you. Somebody's going to say something that might click that maybe you've heard 30 times, but you didn't hear it quite in that way or quite at that moment. And you're just going to be all, oh my gosh. And they're truly inspirational. And you hear people's stories, and it eliminates any excuse that any of us have, right? Like, people are like, well, I don't have a very supportive upline. Well, Lindsay Matway is a multimillionaire, and she didn't have anybody. She just figured it out on her own. She was, you know, a mom, like a daughter that had issues. Like, one of the top 10 coaches, Anita Myron, just lost a child not too long ago, but she's sharing that journey and she's still doing it. Like, there's people that, you know, are single moms or their husband died or just all these stories that when you're like, well, I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because I'm too old. I can't do it because I don't have blonde hair. I can't do it because, you know, I grew up on welfare. Then you have a coach that's made it happen.
Hey.
So it eliminates any excuse or any reason because you're like, wow, they did it. And the only difference between them and us is they had that commitment and then they had that conviction after that enthusiasm.
Has anybody ever put it to you guys like this? Because, I mean, you guys are really supportive, really good at what you do. And sometimes I find my enthusiasm and just my whole push towards being more like you guys and how you guys operate, I feel like goes downhill because I don't feel like I measure up to you guys, and I don't know that I could ever measure up to that type of how you guys are, because this is so much outside of what type of person I usually am. So, you know, at work, I'm a leader and I have influence over people, but never really been accused of being friendly, you know, like overly friendly. Like I have friends and I'm kind to people, but reaching out to strangers is just not me. And I see how well you guys do it. And so that sometimes it almost makes me go, yeah, I'm never getting there. That's not.
Yeah. You know, I wouldn't even stress that. Okay. You look at, like, we have it on YouTube. The video that we created for our very first challenge group 2 years ago, I literally had this right here and I was looking right here because I couldn't look at the camera and I almost shat my pants. Like, it literally blew the crap out of me.
Yeah.
So bad. And it's just, you just do it over and it becomes easier. And I was that chick that's like, who posts selfies of themselves all the time in their food? I mean, come on, people. And now I'm totally that girl, you know? Yeah. And so never underestimate. And I'm actually I call it an outgoing introvert. Like I can be outgoing, but it like really wears me out. And so I have to take a nap afterwards. And so I would love nothing more than just being at home. You know what I mean? So I'm not like super outgoing but you just learn tools, and having a passion, I think, is important because it's going to push you to do those things that you don't always want to do because you love doing what you do. You know what I mean?
Can I add something too?
Yeah.
So when I first started, I was kind of the same way because Justin and Gianna used to do the videos, and I was like, I can't do that. And then everyone's like, you need to smile during your videos. And to be honest, I'm not that person. Like, I'm not like, hi, my name's Megan, and today we're going to talk about fitness. Like, it's just not me. And
yeah.
And I don't do a lot of videos because of it. But the thing is that that's just not, if you are comparing yourself to them, I would maybe try to find somebody else. If you feel like you need to follow someone, maybe follow, not saying that they're not good to follow, but if you're constantly comparing yourself to them and you're like, God, I just can't do that.
It's more like the goal. The end game is to be more like them, and I feel like I'm so far away from being like them. It's
You're
like,
not. I've seen your posts. You have really good posts. Mm-hmm. You're your own person. You go live all the time. You're doing your workouts. Yeah. If you're just consistent and continue to be on your journey and share about it, then you're going to be fine. If you just keep showing up every single day, you know what I mean? You're going to make something of it. And the people that are super successful are the ones that you'll see next year. You'll see them the year after, and you'll see them next year. Anyone can make it work, whether you're,
Yeah, I'm starting to get the confidence. I mean, Justin told us a while ago, like, be in it a year. And so that's kind of my goal, is to persevere a year. And if I haven't been able to figure it out, then I can reevaluate that. But my goal is to make sure we're in it a year. And I feel like my wife is growing better at it than I am. So I guess that's where my
I think his confidence is shaken a little just because out of the girls at work and stuff, one just kind of said, hey, I have to listen to you here. I'm not really interested in what you have to say. I'd rather listen to your wife.
And I'm the one that got her into it, and I was just like, okay.
So then after that, he was like,
Justin hears that all the time.
I was going to say the great thing about having it as a team, as a couple, that you guys actually will get that balance, just like our conversation earlier tonight. You know, Justin's saying this, Deanna's saying that, different tone, different energy, different level. But the reality is as well, you have to remember, you yourself, Jason, can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
You yourself are going to create and attract your own tribe, your own kind. You're not going to attract the same people I do. Your wife's not going to attract the same people you do. You're not going to attract the same people Justin does. The great thing about it, there's 320 million people in the USA. How many of them are going to be attracted to you? All I'm going to ask is each time that you post, each time you go live, keep in mind your confidence will continue to build, okay? What's interesting is I say this, guys. Envision everybody right here, these frames right here, April, Natalie, Medicine One phone? I'm like going off name. Wait, what? Who is that? Give me a pill, doc. And Jennifer and everybody, envision us all being here a year from now. And Jason saying, oh my God, remember a year ago? How crazy was I sounding? You know what I'm saying? So the reality is exactly what Megan says, is exactly what I'm trying to do. And I suck at AM workouts. And I am trying to keep it simple and keep my actions consistent. That's Facebook posts, that's our Shakeology, our water, our healthy choices, all of that stuff. Because it's going to come around. If you're consistent, it's going to come around and go, this guy's going to go, dude, you've been doing this for about 6 months now. How the heck are you doing it? You know what I mean? So stay positive, keep your eye on the prize, you know, recommit to yourself. I know the enthusiasm's kind of fading, but check your reality and make that make sense for you, because the reality is I would love my partner to be able to have that balance, because it just makes you a dynamo team. You're going to rock. You watch. You're going to rock.
Thank you. Thank you for the words of kindness and support there. I appreciate it.
Well, don't tell everybody.
Well, I'm usually the one that's on the other end of it, and I'm like, I don't need all that, the feel goods, but apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what we're doing is we're human and we're relating to other people, right? So when we tap out or reach out or stuff like that, everybody's got their own tribe. I'm telling you, I'm finding my tribe, right? I'm looking for like-minded people to build my business. But right now it's just like the challengers and stuff like that. You know, you have good days, you're gonna have bad days, but just remember, eye on the prize, right? It's gonna get right. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
I think honestly, Jason, I think they're dead on, and this kind of I think holds true to everybody, right? I don't think you're alone in this. I think we all go through a time where we start out, we're very enthusiastic, we're excited about what we're doing, then things kind of get hard, and it's very easy to start comparing ourselves to other people and start looking at other people, especially if you're really like focusing on the coaches, right? Like the top coaches and stuff like that. It's very easy to start focusing on other people and see what they're doing and want to and question whether or not you're able to actually do that. And you know, that's exactly what happened to Dion and I in the very first 6 months that we were coaching. And literally, we were excited about it. It's exactly what you're going through right now. We were excited about it, and I knew exactly the potential. I was fully aware of the potential in what Beachbody coaching could achieve. I was fully aware of how to do it, right, from a business standpoint. Like, it made sense to me. Like, I get the binary system. Like, I understand how it functions, right? But what I wasn't sure about is I saw Jessica specifically. I saw where she was, or where I believed her to be. And I wasn't sure deep down, almost subconsciously, I wasn't sure of my or Deanna's ability to actually achieve that goal. Right?
Yeah.
Her, so I'm like, I don't know if we can do that. And it was a day, and I'll never forget this day ever in my life. It was a day that I was walking Bennington, and I'd never call him Bennington, Benny. I was walking along and I was looking at Facebook, and I saw a post, you know, we do rank advancement posts, and I saw a post about her. And in my mind, I thought, okay, I know what you need to do to be successful. And I'm assuming, because I don't know what her rank was, I'm assuming that she is like a multi 15-star diamond, you know, blah, 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 right? And she was getting announced because she was jumping up to 7-star diamond. And I literally stopped, and I was like, 6 or 7 star, and I was like, holy shit. Wait a minute. She's like that. I thought what? In that moment, it immediately made me recognize not the ability to earn, but my potential specifically in earning that. Like, my potential, actually myself, to get to that point. I know 7 people. I know people that I can talk to that do, like, that makes it achievable. And that's when everything shifted, right? That's when for me, that's when that moment happened. And I think every single one of us on this call will go through a time like that. And it is the moment. And I think it'll be different for everybody. It was different from Deanna. It was different for myself. But it will be different for everybody. But there will be a moment where, if that's why we say, just be here next year, do those consistent things, just show up, because eventually you put yourself around those like-minded people. You start listening to those morning wake-up calls. You listen to personal development. You do those things. You do those actions every day that we have to do. Eventually, you too, just like everybody, will have a moment when you recognize not just the potential, but your immediate ability to create that potential, and then everything shifts. And it's, as you realize, it has nothing to do with you being a certain way. It has nothing to do with you being like another coach. It has nothing to do with you being anything other than you and doing the things that you had been doing to that point. And the only thing that shifted was your mindset and what you're doing. And the belief fuels everything. The belief is where conviction comes from, right? Like, that is the end game fuel. That was the fuel for us. That's what we're riding on now. We are now on conviction. There's no damn question in my mind whatsoever what Beachbody will be. None. I know it might not be next year. It might not be the year after that. Maybe it's 3 years. Shit, 3 years, that's nothing. I can do 3 years, 5 years. It doesn't matter. But I know if we do what we're doing today, eventually it's going to happen. It's not a question. I recognize that. And I recognize that we can do that. You'll have that moment. We all will have that moment. Some of us maybe already had that moment. Right? But that's where that conviction comes from.
And to be honest, like, I have that moment, and sometimes that moment goes away. I'm not going to lie. Like, there's times it gets hard, and I, have the same exact doubts as you, or I start comparing myself, which is why I choose not to follow any coaches, because I just don't want to do that to myself. But the only difference, I think, between me and you on having those insecurities or those feelings is I've worked on it so long that I don't spend that much time there anymore, if that makes sense. Like, those insecurities and those self-limiting beliefs creep up, but I'm able to go knock it off, and I'm able to flip it a lot faster. Whereas before I'd spend like weeks in it, but now I'm like, okay, now I can spend a day in it. Okay, well, now I can spend half a day in it. Now I can spend 20 minutes in it, but now I have the tools to know, okay, this isn't just, it can't be 100% fun. There's work involved too, but you can absolutely do it. And so just by working on yourself with PD and everything like that, it allows you to kind of snap out of that self-limiting belief, I guess.
Yeah.
You know that you can absolutely do it.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man. Just like Nicole said, you'll crush it. Like, you really will. The amount that I've seen that you have changed, you guys both, the amount that I've seen that you guys have transformed in the past 60 days is, like, I have literally watched coaches take more than a year to make that big of a transformation. And I'm not talking physically. I'm talking about the way you guys post, the way you guys put yourself out of your comfort zone, like the ability to step outside of that. I've watched coaches take over a year and still not get to that point. And you guys did it in 60, like, all right, I'm in. From a guy who didn't even have a profile picture on his Facebook for how long? I was like, who is this guy? Oh, it's Jason. The only reason I know it is because he's got his name there. Otherwise, I'd be like, who the hell is this gray face? That is annoying.
Yeah, I know.
And now he's going live all the time and posting photos of your meal prep all the time. I mean, dude, like,
you're killing it, you guys. You are killing it. You got your own thing. You know what? Somebody is relating to Elizabeth's. That's wonderful. You guys are on the same team. Let her work with her.
Yeah.
You take somebody else.
It was just, I think it was a blow to the ego. I'm like, well, maybe I'm talking to the wrong people.
Maybe. Justin did that for a while. Yeah. I mean, the whole team, you guys, everybody on this call is kicking butt right now. I mean, it's really impressive.
Yeah, that's why everybody is, Anybody else have any additions or any just thing they want?
We got like 2% left on the phone, so if we dip out, battery died. So you guys have a good night.
Hey, absolutely, man. You too. Thank you so much for your time. Anybody have any other questions or anything? Nobody? Okay, guys. Then, except for a flex from Megan's son. Did I double bicep? What's up, Arnold?
Wow.
Jeez. Calm down.
I'm starting Body Beast right after quarter fours. And then I'm just going to.
Yeah.
Gonna rip it back down for the trip to Punta Cana.
Right?
That's our soulmate workout.
Nobody will be able to see me on the beach because I'll be white as a friggin' sheet, but I'll be ripped.
Where's that? Oh, wait a minute. That white sand. Oh, there she is. I see black hair.
Oh, there she is. Black hair. Yeah, exactly. There's some eyes.
Yeah. All righty, folks. Well, hey, I really appreciate, as always, I appreciate you guys.
Sorry if my kids scared you guys with
What's
their
up?
muscles. Sorry if my kids scared you guys with their muscles.
I know. They're fierce. Like
It's
their mama.
terrifying, but we're going to get through it. So.
I was going to comment on when Jessica said she was going to be ripped on the beach. My son was picking on me or like teasing me tonight with working out and stuff. And he's like, Mom, you're going to be all ripped underneath your holiday dress and nobody's going to see it.
That's right. But you'll know it's there.
Exactly.
Or you'll have to wear like a halter top and a, what are those, like a belly shirt and some
That's so freaking cute.
All righty, folks. Well, hey, thank you guys again so much for your time. I really appreciate the feedback. We appreciate the call. And you guys have a really good Wednesday night.
Thanks, you guys.
Yes, thank you. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Have a good night, everyone.